Hello, everybody. My name is Jacques Bouchy. I'm the Senior Vice President of Business Development and Corporate Communications at Kineta. And Marty, thank you for the opportunity to present here today. So I'll just start with a quick opening on Kineta. So we are a clinical stage biotechnology company, and our mission is to develop next generation immunotherapies to transform patients' lives, in particular cancer patients' lives. In addition to that, our team has really been on a mission to take the company public. And on Monday, we just made a big announcement that really charts a course for Kineta to be publicly listed on the NASDAQ by the end of the year, which really presents a great opportunity for investors as we are going to close out our last private round here very soon. So with that, I'd like to introduce Craig Phillips. Craig is our president of Kineta, and he's in our offices in Seattle today. And I'm going to turn it over to him to walk through the Kineta story and our last investment opportunity. Craig?
Great. Thanks very much, Jacques. As Jacques mentioned, my name is Craig Phillips. I'm president at Kineta, and I'm really happy to be with you today to talk about, the work that Kineta is doing really to build these next generation immunotherapies, and importantly, especially for the audience today, about building investor value. Jacques mentioned that this Monday, we announced a reverse merger into a Boston-based NASDAQ-traded company called Humanity. And I'll talk a little bit about that through this presentation today. This is a major step for Kineta. It provides the company with an excellent opportunity to really grow and enhance our pipeline of innovative cancer drugs, and it represents an exciting opportunity for both our existing and our new investors. And more on this as we walk through the presentation today. I'll refer everyone to our safe harbor statement, and you're welcome, but I won't be reading this to you today. The focus of Kineta is really on cancer. And, all of us have been touched by cancer. It remains a leading cause of death in the United States and around the world. In the US alone, there are nearly 2 million new cases of cancer each year, new cases of cancer. And while we've seen some improvement in the survival of cancer patients, many of these hard to treat cancers like lung cancer, head and neck, genitourinary cancers continue to have really poor response rates and poor rates of overall survival. And so that's what Kineta is focused on. Our mission is really developing these next generation immunotherapies that will transform patients' lives and improve both the response rates and the survival rates for these patients. Our development focus is really on exploiting the innate immunity system to address the tremendous unmet needs for these cancer patients. There's been a lot of revolution and evolution in the past 10 years in cancer immunotherapy. There's been a new class of drugs called checkpoint inhibitors that target a number of these important checkpoint targets. But these drugs don't work in all patients. And even in those patients where they do work, they don't provide a durable response. So clearly, there continues to be a great demand for new immunotherapies in oncology with new and diverse drug mechanisms. At Kineta, what we're doing is we're really focused on the three major reasons why cancer patients fail checkpoint inhibitor therapy and fail chemotherapy. And these are the three main mechanisms of cancer immune resistance on this slide. First, immunosuppression. There are a lot of tumors that contain these immunosuppressive innate immune cells. These block the immune response, inside the tumor microenvironment. Secondly, many cancer patients may have an initial immune response, but the T cell response becomes weak and ineffective over time. And third, we're looking at poor tumor immunogenicity. There are a lot of tumors that are immunologically silent, and they remain invisible to the body's immune system. And these tumors lack adequate tumor antigens that are available to stimulate an immune response. So Kineta is focused on developing new drug candidates through our proprietary PiiONEER platform that address each of these three mechanisms of immune resistance. And we believe that the next great advances in improving survival for cancer patients will come through the integration of both the innate and the adaptive immune system. Now, as a company, we have a really attractive, clear track record of success. This merger agreement with Humanity really provides us with an excellent platform, and we believe that this post-merger company is going to be in an excellent position to excel as a publicly traded company. The Kineta management team today will be the management team that will operate the combined company following the merger. At Kineta, we're really built on 5 key pillars of value. First, we have a strong existing investor base. This group has committed $30 million to PIPE financing at the close of the merger. And that provides Kineta with cash runway to fund the combined organization through early 2024. Secondly, we have a well-differentiated PiiONEER development platform that uses proprietary development technologies to address these mechanisms of cancer resistance that I've talked about. Next, our immuno-oncology focused pipeline includes monoclonal antibodies that target VISTA, CD27, CD24. The immuno-oncology market is huge. These exciting immunotherapies have significant commercial potential and significant medical value. The immuno-oncology market is forecasted to continue to grow and to be worth over $95 billion in 2026. Kineta has validated scientific capabilities. We've done a partnership with Genentech Roche. It's a $350 million partnership, plus we get double-digit royalties. That's potentially a $2.5 billion source of revenue for Kineta. And lastly, we anticipate, in the near term, a number of catalysts that are going to continue to drive the value and, as a public company, drive the share price of Kineta. And these catalysts are going to include, some major advances and data readouts with our immuno-oncology assets, as well as the chronic pain program. We have a good leadership team that has excellent background, scientific capabilities, as well as really strong and deep pharmaceutical industry experience from big pharma and biotech as well. One of the key Kineta competitive advantages is our strong core foundation of innate immunity research with an industry-leading scientific team that really drives our R&D engine. We have strong commercial leadership as well as the R&D team, and this enables us to advance multiple drug programs in therapeutic area with significant commercial potential. Our team has a depth of experience in drug discovery, preclinical, manufacturing, clinical trial, business development, and commercial development. So we've got a really strong group of veterans in biotech that have successfully partnered, financed, and led companies from start to exit. We're in a strong financial position. I mentioned earlier this merger with Humanity. This will take place in the second half of this year. And at that point, Kineta will be a NASDAQ-listed company, and the Kineta management team is going to lead the merged company. We have strong investor support. So we've gone to existing investors, people that we have in our books today, and have asked for support in a PIPE investment in the merged company. And our target was to get $30 million, and we've done that. So we have $30 million that will come into the merged company on the first day of the merger. And as I mentioned earlier, this gives us really strong cash runway. It funds the company for the next 6 quarters, and it allows Kineta to get past a number of the major milestones, including the readouts of efficacy as both monotherapy and combination therapy from the phase 1 clinical study that I'll talk about in a few minutes. The focus of Kineta is on immuno-oncology. And I wanted just to comment about how we're differentiated from other companies, because we do look at at the immune system a bit different than what other people do. And that gives us, we believe, a significant head start and competitive advantage. The immune system includes both innate immunity and adaptive immunity, as shown on this slide. The innate response occurs quickly and is really important to develop and establish the adaptive response. The adaptive immune response follows, and it emerges over several weeks and is responsible for the immunological memory that can last for years. Now, most of the drug development is focused on this latter portion. And what's different with Kineta is we're focused on both the innate as well as the adaptive immune system. And that's really allowing us to better control the growth of cancer cells. So this platform I mentioned earlier, we call the PiiONEER platform, and it's the discovery approach that we use that allows us to reproducibly develop novel cancer drugs that address some of those problems of cancer resistance that I was talking about earlier. This platform includes target biology, which is how we go about selecting a target that impacts these mechanisms of cancer resistance. We develop fully human antibodies using a number of novel technologies that give us a really large and diverse library of fully human monoclonal antibodies. Then we go through a series of iterative and cyclical steps that allow us to optimize the drug candidates through a series of screening, immune profiling and characterization, precision protein engineering and optimization, and pharmacologic steps to achieve drug-like properties that allow these monoclonal antibodies to work as an excellent pharmaceutical drug. And this platform provides us with proof of concept preclinical data for lead selection and really informs clinical trial design, patient selection, and clinical dose selection as well. The immuno-oncology portfolio that we have includes a number of the products shown on this slide. KVA 12.1 is our most advanced program. This is targeting immune suppression in the tumor microenvironment, and we'll be initiating a phase 1 clinical study of this at the end of this year. We're also developing an anti-CD27 agonist monoclonal antibody to address T-cell exhaustion. And we also have a CD24 monoclonal antibody to address those poor tumor immunogenicity as well. And then we have a number of other bench discovery programs in place, which will give us additional drugs following these drugs moving forward into the clinic. So we think this platform really provides us with a competitive advantage and a reproducible source of drugs. I mentioned earlier briefly this strategic partnership that we have with Genentech. We have a chronic pain drug. It's a novel non-opioid, so it's not the opioids that are so much in the news and so problematic. This is in clinical development. To date, so far, we've received $21 million in payments from Genentech. We're on target to eventually get up to $359 million in milestones, and then double-digit royalties. And as I mentioned earlier, we stand to receive over $2.5 billion just from this partnership. So it's a really significant transaction that we have with Genentech. I wanted to comment on a little bit more on our KVA 12.1 program. This is a very exciting drug, and it has tremendous potential to improve cancer outcomes. This VISTA expression, this thing that we're looking to block, is strongly correlated with poor outcomes for these cancer patients. In cancer patients, what we see with VISTA is it's upregulated in those patients as they relapse from checkpoint inhibitors, or in those patients that don't respond to checkpoint inhibitors. VISTA is present, and that's causing a lot of the problem in better managing these patients. Currently, there are no anti-VISTA drugs on the market. Our drug has the potential to be the best in class of these immunotherapies, and we believe that Kineta has really done a great job of differentiating this drug from those other drugs that are, in a similar stage of development. Our drug has been has broad-based application across a number of different tumor types: non-small cell lung cancer, ovarian, colorectal, pancreatic, gastric cancer. I talked a little bit about the differentiation where this drug is different than what anybody else has, and we believe this is a potential multi-billion-dollar drug for cancer patients. Here, just to share a little bit of data, we've tested our drug in a number of different models. And so on the left, you can see this bladder cancer model. And what you see is that when we use our drug, we can reduce the tumor growth by 75%. So it's a very, very significant impact on the tumor. In the second panel, looking at lymphoma patient or lymphoma models, you can see a 66% reduction in the tumor. So very significant monotherapy activity. The two panels on the right, this is looking at combination therapy, combination of our drug with Keytruda or Keytruda-like drug. And what you see in the first panel is colorectal. That's the panel on the third panel on the slide. And you see a significant anti-tumor effect, and you see significant benefit of using our drug in combination with the Keytruda-like drug that was used in this. The same on the further right. This is looking at a bladder cancer model in combination, where you can see significant synergy, where we were able to reduce tumor growth by over 85%. So these models are all demonstrating that our drug has significant both single agent activity, and it also works really well in combination. Toxicology, what kind of side effects are we going to see with this drug? So we've run multiple primate studies looking at both single and combination therapy, looking at a single dose and multiple doses over time. And we see a really clean toxicity profile, very attractive, no target organs of toxicity, and the drug's well tolerated. And we see an excellent pharmacokinetic profile. So that means this drug has really attractive drug-like characteristics. So it's easier for patients to use. We're working towards starting this study later this year. This is a study that includes both. I'll talk about part A and part B, which you can see on the right-hand side. So this is treating advanced solid tumor cancer patients. And it starts off with an ascending dose schedule where individual patients will receive increasing doses of our drug. And this is really done to establish optimal dosing and to demonstrate, again, a clean safety toxicity profile. And then we begin part B, which is used in combination with Keytruda. Again, this is looking at a number of solid tumor indications that will be defined following the part A. And what's significant about this type of a design is, late 2023, we're anticipating having data readouts. So we're going to know how our drug works in patients as both single agent therapy as well as combination therapy in roughly before the end of next year. So these key indications that we're looking at are large. There are a lot of patients who have these tumor types. These three indications, which we think are kind of the initial three indications that we will have, represents 2.7 million patients and represent a market potential of nearly $50 billion. So really large opportunity and significant unmet need for patients who have these diseases. Turning to a little bit of our catalyst now, is as a company, we have multiple near-term catalysts, both with our immuno-oncology program.
Forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 31084912996 is not available. At the tone, please record the message. When you have finished.
Well, whoever listens to this as a voice message is going to think it's a really long voice message, but that's all right. So I want to talk about our catalyst across our immuno-oncology pipeline as well as our Genentech partnership. And, these are really important. They're important to us as a private company. They're also really important to us as a public company because we have major value driving inflection points that are going to occur over the next few quarters of the years. So these will drive share price. We think as a public company, these are going to be really important milestones that are going to continue to support the value of the company. We don't list on here a lot of the scientific publications and posters and abstracts that we'll be presenting, but because we do present at a lot of scientific meetings where we're able to demonstrate to the academics and the key opinion leaders what our drug is and how it can be used in the marketplace. So, and I commented earlier, we have a really strong investor base. We have this proprietary PiiONEER platform. We've got this exciting immuno-oncology pipeline, then the partnerships, and a strong, well-experienced management team. So we really believe that the company is in an excellent position to deliver on these milestones, to drive the news flow, and to really build and grow the company value. And I wanted to comment just a little bit about some of the market dynamics. The overall stock market's been soft this year, as we all know, but there are still some sectors that attract a lot of attention and have high interest, and Kineta is really well positioned for those. So what you see on this slide on the panel on the left is that, over the past few years, we've seen cancer as the primary focus of IPOs, of public market entries. So really strong. We see we're in the right clinical stage in the panel in the middle, and you can see the valuations on the right. On average, biotech IPOs are running with valuations of between 450 and 500 million. And these data points suggest very positive short-term valuation growth for the company over the course of the next 6 quarters. And my last slide is current round. We do have a current round. This is an interim financing where it's a round at $1.89 a share, $168 million valuation. That's significant because I was just talking about a $450 million average valuation. And we've got a lot of milestones that we're anticipating hitting over the next few years. And we think this is a really exceptional opportunity for new investors and bodes really well. And as you know, Jacques Bouchy is there in the room. He'd be happy to speak with you about any questions that you might have. I thank you for your attention and welcome all of you to join us as we work to improve cancer care.